purchasing a business, right? There's a lot of opportunity coming out in the next couple months, weeks, years, okay? And a lot of these events that I've been at, I've spoken at, everyone wants to know how to buy a business, right? Because there's going to be all these deals. So I want to kind of give you guys the blueprint on how to buy or how to finance a business purchase. All right, now let's back up a little bit. My name is Jonathan Fodera. I'm the founder of Integrated Business Financing. I've been in small business lending for the past 15 years, right? So the first thing you have to understand when you're going to purchase a business is what's the purchase price, because it's going to be different vehicles, right? So let me just go through all the vehicles. I'll go through the pros and cons, and then I'll kind of break down how the purchase price matters when you're choosing which way you want to do this. So there's cash. Okay, I don't recommend doing cash. There's friends and family. Okay, there's something where you put a deposit down, you seller finance. That's very popular, right? One, you're coming to the table with less money. Two, the seller is actually selling it for more, and because he's selling it over a period of time, he doesn't have to pay as much taxes all in one shot, right? Because it's seller financed, or they call it seller carry, over, let's say, 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 years. Very rarely will it go out 10 years. Next, you could use a term loan, okay? Or you could do an SBA loan. For the points of this video, because everyone knows about cash, everyone knows about friends and family, I'm going to stick to seller financing, SBA, and term loans. Because believe it or not, the three of those do play in, and you can utilize multiple different strategies when you're purchasing a business. All right, so let's get into some examples and what's going to work best for you. And I think that if you're going to do, if you're looking at an SBA, you have to give yourself enough time, right? An SBA, once you get the LOI or once you submit a signed LOI, just know you should have at least 120 days for due diligence. All right. So what that means is you have to give yourself enough time to close that loan and understand that it's going to be a lot of back and forth between you and the bank, or if you have an advisor like myself, us and the bank, and it just takes longer because there's another party involved, right? And understand that what they're looking at when they're analyzing this SBA is, one, what are the assets of the business? What are the assets that you have? Combined, are those worth more than the loan? Okay. Two, like, is there enough collateral for the loan? Two, does the purchase price make sense? And can this business handle this debt payment? And then they're going to say the same thing on your end, whether you own a business or not. Can your current cash flow situation cover the note or cover the debt service if something goes wrong? All right. So all those factors come into play, which is really important to understand, because one, if you're going to use an SBA, it kind of protects you. They're also underwriting that business. And if that business doesn't check out for whatever reason, the last thing you want to do is, own a bunch of money towards it. Right? Or you have now a 5-year or 10-year note, and you're realizing that business probably wasn't worth it. All right. Next, those are some of the things to consider when you're utilizing the SBA. But let's really break this down. And this is why price matters. If it's a purchase for, let's say, $350,000 or more without seller financing, you should absolutely utilize the SBA. SBA can go from that 350 all the way up into the millions, no problem. And it'll be at least a 10-year note, maybe 15 or 20, depending on how flexible we can get with the 7A. Now, you're going to have to put 10% down at least. I always tell people expect 20, but at least 10% down to get that closed. That's a clean, easy case. You get 120 days for due diligence for the LOI, and then you have, you purchase a business. Term loans. Here's the two programs I think are very strategic in utilizing together would be term loans and seller financing or seller carry. So a term loan can get you anywhere from $20,000 per applicant all the way up to 120. I've seen as high as 150,000. I've actually seen higher, but today, present day, I want to go through what's realistic. And a term loan takes only 3 to 5 days to get done. And it's based off of your provable income, meaning your W-2 income or the income that's on your tax returns, and your credit. Okay, so as long as you have 660 credit and let's say $50,000 or $60,000 of provable income, you can go and apply. And obviously, the higher the income, the higher the credit, the better the rates, and the more money you're going to get to qualify for. Why does this matter? Well, let's say you want to buy a business for $500,000, and he's saying he will seller finance with 20% down. Well, guess what? You can utilize a term loan, take out the $100K, and then seller finance the rest. Have him seller finance the rest. And that's an easy and smooth transaction, right? So if you can utilize those, it makes a lot of sense. Now, let's say you have a larger purchase price, right? You have $700,000 or $800,000, but you have 3 partners or 4 partners, and they want to seller finance the seller, because sometimes the seller absolutely wants to seller finance. Let's say they want to seller finance. Well, each partner can go in and apply for a term loan. Not only can the partner's spouses, right? So you can actually use this as a way to get a lot of the funds up to either one, purchase the business, or put a down payment to seller finance. Where it gets tricky is if you don't have the money to put down for the SBA, or you try to seller finance with an SBA. For the most part, that's really not going to work. I wouldn't suggest doing that. Okay, you're going to go through a long process, and at the end of the process, there's a chance that it won't go through or it'll get declined, and then you wasted a lot of time, effort, and energy. So I would highly recommend not doing that. A couple other items when it comes to the mechanics of how everything works. There are larger programs. Let's say you wanted to buy a business for 10 or 20 million. There's programs for that. The other interesting way to do this, and I was helping somebody do this, is if you did an asset sale. Let's say you have an equipment, a business that is fire sale prices. And I didn't mention this up front, but it's very, very, very valuable. Okay. Let's say you have a construction business that is heavy equipment, and the seller's old and the owner's old, and he just wants to sell and be done with it. So he's giving it away for a very, very cheap price. Same thing with auto repair, anything that's equipment heavy. What you can do is you can do an asset purchase of only the equipment, right? And you can use equipment financing to buy all their equipment at a discount. And that transaction can get done in, let's say, 3 to 5 days, longest 2 weeks. And so that seller, right, that owner will walk away from everything. You can buy all the equipment, and you don't have to go through a long, arduous process of any other type of financing. So that is also a pretty wise way to do some of these transactions, is utilizing equipment financing, utilizing term loans, SBA loans, or seller financing. Right? At the end of the day, what matters the most is, one, is the business worth purchasing, and is it worth purchasing at that price? And 2, did you optimize the way you finance that business? Working with experts will obviously help you. Not everybody has access or networking knowledge of all these programs. So I hope this really helped you. There are a bunch of other things, but if you have any questions, please reach out to us, Integrated Business Finance, or reach out to me directly. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you know anyone looking to finance a business, please share this with them. Thank you very much.